Hello beautiful people, it's your girl Nasa. Thank you for stumbling upon my channel. I really appreciate it. Today we're going to be talking about something a little bit more serious. I'm going to be sharing with you my story of anxiety and how I dealt with it, especially, in high school. And the reason why I'm dressed like this is because, well, I always wanted to wear my prom dress like in a video, and this felt kind of fitting because we're talking about high school me. But besides my fabulous outfit, what I wanted to talk about was the anxiety that no one really speaks of. Like, usually when people speak of their experience with anxiety, what's most mentioned is the part of anxiety that makes you withdraw from, your environment. But I wanted to share my story of anxiety, which is the type that causes you to behave recklessly. So what I'm going to be doing is sharing my thought process in 3 different points by reading 3 entries from my journal. This is it right here. This is my very secret journal. It's got an owl on it, and it's like pretty cute. These are like my personal alphabet letters because it's an I, and then I dotted the I with my fingerprint, and therefore it's the only alphabet that is completely mine. So anyways, I'm going to first start by reading to you Exhibit A. This is an entry on October 11th, 2013, and the title is One of Those Sick Thoughts. Sometimes I daydream about what it would be like to be involved in some major drama, imagining myself doing something that would make me look bad, something naughty, illegal, or even gross, coming up with different scenarios of what I could do to get attention or thrill. Just thinking about something that would have to... My handwriting is so bad, guys. Okay. Just thinking about something that would have the whole school talk about me for weeks, like getting into a fight, having a nervous breakdown in first period, throwing up in the middle of a hallway, accidentally starting a fire in class, getting caught making out with a young teacher, or whatever. Just doing something that would cause chaos or embarrassment, so at least I could have a crazy story about something dumb I've done in high school. But of course, I wouldn't want anything like that to happen, so I'll just keep on thinking of weird things. And now I present to you Exhibit B. This was an entry on November 1st, 2013. So these entries are pretty close together. And this one is titled Those Feelings, Part 1, Unsettledness. I often feel unsettled. Sometimes I would just be walking and I would feel a great sense of nothingness, a sense that something is missing, and every time it happens, my heart aches. I feel like I'm not breathing enough, even though I am. I also feel like I just need to fight it to get rid of the nothingness feeling. I need to move on. To get rid of the nothingness feeling, I need to move or do something dramatic that would unbound my soul. I want to scream. I want to scream so bad, but I know that it would cause some sort of unwanted trouble, so I don't scream. Instead, I move, I dance, I write ferociously, I talk out loud to myself, I cry, etc., but I don't scream. And why do I feel this way? I wish I knew. Now we have Exhibit C. Oh, right here. This was on January 10th, 2014, and it's labeled, I'm a better diagnostist. Internet has helped me throughout life countless of times. I use it for good and I use it for not so good reasons. One thing I repeatedly find myself doing that is unhealthy for my state of mind is trying to find out what is wrong with me with the internet. I basically diagnose myself to unrelative strange illnesses and such by taking quizzes. Though some of these quizzes give me bizarre results, I still get accurate ideas of why I failed mentally, socially, and just some other stuff. What internet says about me. Number 1, there's an 80% chance I'm bipolar. Number 2, I'm severely socially awkward. 3, I might have ADHD. 4, I had acid reflux. 5, I had vitamin B12 deficiency. 6, I don't sleep enough. 7, there's a 78% chance I'm an introvert. 8, my inner animal is a puppy. 9, I'm not a super taster. 10, the bump on my hand is not a tumor, but is a bone spur on one of my metacarpal bones called a carpal boss. So I've written some notes here that I will use throughout this video to help me, remember some of my points. So let's analyze these 3 journal entries. In Exhibit A, you can hear that this Nasa desperately wants attention and is also for some reason drawn to reckless behavior to get that attention. In Exhibit B, you get to hear of Vanessa that feels a void, feels like she's losing control of her environment, and also feels that there is something inside her that needs to be expressed. In Exhibit C, you hear of Vanessa that is constantly questioning what is wrong with me and is seeking that answer, but through the internet. So, in case you haven't guessed it by now, just know that I have been diagnosed with general anxiety, and I didn't know it then, so I was always still looking for those answers. So, before we continue to go on, let me just say that I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, so this whole analyzing shebang, like, it's just me doing my best, okay? Even though I've been diagnosed, like, I haven't even taken enough therapy sessions to even give them a chance to help me. Like, I pretty much just tried to figure it out on myself. I've only even been to like one full therapy session, and I didn't like it. I didn't go back because whatever. So whatever I say, pretty much, it's not a guideline for you to figure out, your issue. Like, I 100% recommend that you do as I say, not as I do, and seek help, talk to someone for sure. Pretty much this video is like my way of talking to someone. I do hope that I help at least someone with this, because maybe they're experiencing the same thing, or maybe they want to further understand something that's not really talked about. So with that being said, I'm going to continue with telling you my story on my anxiety. So I was always a quiet kid, and I didn't see anything wrong with that. And I still don't see anything wrong with being a quiet person. But when I turned 15, I started going to high school, things started to change. Because before, like, I wasn't fully aware of my existence. I thought I was just going about, my life, doing my own thing. But then, in high school, that's when I started to see that, oh, like, people see me, people make judgments on me, and I'm expected to interact with all this. Like, this is a lot. So at 15, I just started to not feel like myself anymore, and that's when I guess the anxiety started to develop. And just everyday mundane things started to become uncomfortable. Like, even if it wasn't involving other people, like, this followed me everywhere. Like, I was scared of the dark. Like, even at home, like, I just hated the dark. I hated everything that just was, I don't know, was kind of threatening. Like, it just became to be too much. And, with Exhibit B, that was something that I felt every single day when I walked into school and I was just, seeing the environment. I always felt that unsettled feelness where I wanted to scream. Then I started to develop these obsessive habits. Like, whenever I walk into a classroom, I would watch the door, just like, constantly looking back, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait until I get to leave, or, just seeing who comes in. Like, I just didn't want to be in that environment. Not only that, but every time I walked into a room, I would look to see where the closest trash bin is, because I always felt like I had to throw up, and I just needed a game plan for when that moment happens. Like, for some, like, I never did throw, but I always felt like I had to throw up. So I was always just looking like, okay, there's a trash can. This is going to be the route that I'm going to take to get there if I have to throw up. So all in all, those were some examples, and I was desperately trying to figure out how I can overcome this. So I concluded to a solution, kind of based on, those three thoughts that were constantly in my mind. So what we have is C, I have a problem that needs to be fixed. A, the way to fix this problem is by doing things that scare me, so B, I can fully express myself. A, not really knowing that this will end in self-sabotage. So yeah, I decided that I was going to overcome my anxiety by doing the things that scared me. And at first, things were okay. Things were actually healthy. I signed up for theater class, I joined a play, I started hanging out with my friends more, I did karaoke at Applebee's. For a moment, things were tolerable. But the problem with mental illness is that sometimes when we think of a solution, we think that we're in control. But of course I wasn't in control, because once things got worse and my senses were heightened and things were just in general too hard for me to handle, my solution ended up hurting me in the end. So things got so bad that I just thought I had absolutely like enough. Like, I'm completely getting over this. I used my solution and I just took it to the extreme. I just decided nothing was gonna scare me. I was just gonna do whatever, whenever. I was just rebelling against my own mind. So My solution was no longer just, I'm gonna make an effort to make eye contact more. Like, no, the first thing that I thought I could do to give anxiety the big FU is I decided that I was going to lose my virginity. So one brave afternoon, I decided to step out the house and I encountered an old friend, someone that I went to middle school with, but we ended up going to different high schools and we hadn't talked in years, you know. He was pretty much like, yo, how you been? You never come out the house. Give me your number. And then I decided, yes, he is the one. He's going to be the one that takes my virginity. So anyways, long story short, we talk, he gets my number, and then the next day, he texts me, hey. And I text back so boldly. No one would have expected this. He says, hey, and I say, hey, no one's home today. Come over. Just like that. No beating around the bush, no first date, just come over. So what ended up happening, I went to his place and then boom, bam, lost my virginity. I was a new woman. Or I was just a new child because I was tripping. But that's just one example. Things like this just continue to be a habit. I was just completely impulsive. No thought needed to be presented. Like, it was just, yeah, everything that presented itself to me, I was just like, why not? I ended up in some dangerous situations. I met some strangers online, I tried some drugs. I was just overall impulsive and reckless. I was open to almost everything that presented itself. And what ended up happening is that as my boundaries got lower and lower, my self-worth also got lower and lower, and it just was overall not a good thing for me. And the whole self-worth thing, that's just a whole other story for a whole other day. Several stories, in fact. But in general, like, this is what happened to me when I didn't seek the help that was necessary. I wanted to help myself so bad and break out of my anxiety so bad that I thought that I had to do the absolute complete opposite of being scared to do shit by acting recklessly. So that's pretty much all I feel like I can share at this moment. I will be making more videos on situations and topics like this. So if there's anything that can be taken from this, like, there's just not one way to have anxiety and there's not one way to express it. So know that there's just not one way to identify it. Everyone's story is different. And the other thing is, don't prescribe a solution to yourself. Like, make sure you talk to someone. Share your thoughts so you're just not holding it all to yourself. You don't have to take everything into your own hands like I did, because what the solution I gave to myself ended up hurting me in the end. So what I want you to know is, don't do what I did. Please, like, seek professional help. Just check yourself before you wreck yourself, pretty much. Like I wrecked myself in a sense. Because the thing is, not only did I hate myself for being a scary little pussy, like, that's just what I call myself, you're not a scary little pussy, but I also hated myself for the reckless decisions I was making. So in general, I was just never at peace with myself. And things would have went a whole lot smoother if I just spoke up a little, shared my feelings, and, seeked professional help, so that I wouldn't have taken those measures to try to feel okay, to try to feel like I belong in the society. Yeah, so that is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have some criticism or just something you'd like to say, like, let me know down below, because I want to be able to do this better. Like, I don't want to just be rambling and not do anything productive. So, so definitely, share your thoughts. Share this video if you think that you could help someone. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my content. And I also do, like, other types of videos. Like, I do a lot of makeup and, I don't know, fashion and just me talking crap. And thank you so much for making it to the end. And that is all, beautiful people. I send you my love. Mwah.